Hello, guys. Welcome to the NobCast, the football podcast with a difference, and your favourite football podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about Arsenal. Are they genuine title contenders? Yes, they certainly are, in my humble opinion. Unai Emery doing a masterclass over Manchester United. Spurs losing. Liverpool actually winning a game away from home. Is this real life? Yes, it is. Apparently, Man City refereeing controversy, yes or no. The Champions League draw happened, so we will be discussing that in detail, having a look ahead at the future fixtures and our predictions therein. We're also going to have a little rant, well, Gaskey certainly is, about the 3 p.m. blackout rule, the standard mini-games, and of course, BallBusters, which will be at the end of the podcast. So do make sure to stay tuned for that. But of course, I'm joined by Gaskey, speak of the devil. There he is in his little United shirt. How you doing, mate?
Hello, good, thank you. How is my good old podcast partner?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Doing very well after a dramatic and exciting Premier League match week. And thankfully, we were able to watch all of the matches that were broadcast at 3 p.m. Oh, wait, no, we weren't, because we live in England. More on that later. Gaskey, we are going to start with probably the game of the, certainly from a on-paper perspective, in terms of excitement in relation to the title race. The most exciting game, Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. Exciting only in name, because it was quite a boring spectacle. An interesting tactical battle, but not necessarily good for the casual viewer who just wants to enjoy a game of football. And I'm just going to start with the moronicness of the reason why Chelsea lost the game in terms of the individual moment. We'll get onto the tactics later. But Gaskey, I mean, just talk to me about the goal that Gabriel scored. I've given him a lot of slack. He got the goal, but it wasn't necessarily due to fantastic offensive play, was it?
Really wasn't. I watched the replay of the goal a few times, and these just multiple sections where it's awful. It's not like it's just got through one player. You know, it's an absolutely shite corner to start. Let's just start with that. It is awful. I don't know what Havertz is trying to do it from bare post. It's like he's trying to leapfrog the ball to start with. Don't know what's going on. They're all grabbing behind. After a few watches the replay, I saw Cucurella, who was just giving someone a cuddle and watching the ball go in. And it's like they just didn't want to clear it. It was really weird. It was just, it came through, and then it was one of those where you look away thinking, oh, it's a crack corner, they're going to clear that. And then it's in the back of the net. Yeah. But yeah, it must be some of the worst defending I've seen from a corner. Like, it's really, really poor.
It was really poor, and it's just embarrassing that, look, Arsenal were much the better side in the game, but if you're going to lose against Arsenal, at least let it be a really nice bit of play where they open you up, or it's a spectacular free kick or long shot. Like, if you're losing because of that, I mean, it's just a bit embarrassing, to be honest. But regardless of that aside, Arsenal still 100% deserved to take the win, even without that horrendous mistake by Chelsea. And Gaskey, I believe you think part of that is due to Potter's team selection. You're a bit confused by it. It's obviously not clicking there at Chelsea. They haven't won a game in a number of games. I think they've drawn, lost, I believe. So what is that? 4 failures to win in 4 Premier League games, something like that. After a very good start for Potter, getting pumped by Brighton last week, and now, even though not in scoreline, getting battered by Arsenal from an overall play perspective. So yeah, Gas, give me your thoughts on the confusion of Potter.
Yeah, so it all comes back to that, to start with the United game. So he went to 5 at the back, didn't work. United were all over them. He took Cucurella off, put Kovacic on. Kovacic changed the game for them, and they played better. How is he just back on the bench? That's what I don't get. So then you've got this midfield of Jorginho, who, let's be honest, does he offer a lot? He connects the dots in a way, but doesn't really give you that defensive solidity that a holding midfielder will, and he's not really giving you that playmaker ability that an attacking midfielder will. But you put him next to Loftus-Cheek, who is not great, is he? Let's be fair. He's very, very bang average. Why is Kovacic not on the pitch? Giving him a go. Why is he not? He should be next to Jorginho, in my opinion. Jorginho gives him the ball. Then he moves forward and connects all the dots with the attack. That doesn't work. Then you've got another number 9 who's absolutely crap. Like, have they had anyone since Drogba who plays that position that's been good? Because I don't think there's really been anyone.
Yeah, there's been a curse at Chelsea, hasn't there? A curse.
It'd be interesting to see how much they spent, because I reckon they spent nearly 500 million since Drogba, and no one's even been close. And the fact that their top goal scorer is still in the Premier League is, I don't know, he's scored a lot Lampard, but a midfielder. Like, your attackers should be, by this time, they should be up there, and they're not. And they just didn't create anything. Like, I actually forgot Aubameyang was on the pitch.
Yeah, I think he had 8 touches in the game overall.
Yeah, and it's okay. You can. He's very like. There was some times in the game when I saw and I thought, go and make a run off the last man, and he's not doing it. But then also I'm thinking he's not even getting any supply from anyone else. So, I can understand from both points of view why he would be frustrated. But yeah, just that it was the midfield selection for me. Like, defensively, I mean, it's probably the best defense they've got at the moment. But from a midfield perspective, you had no one who's going to pick that ball up and take it forward, and you had nothing, and Arsenal were just all over him.
Just touching on Aubameyang, did you see that really cringy match preview thing on BT Sports?
Exactly. I saw Gabrielle's tweet afterwards mocking it.
Nothing personal or something like that. It's like,
have you seen the behind the scenes of that though?
Yes. Oh, he looks so awkward.
You can tell he's uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And they get him to do it. So I do feel for him in that way. He's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he could have gone, I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to. But yeah, it was really awkward and cringe. But yeah, so Aubameyang got on the losing side there. Just sort of my thoughts on the formation from Brighton. Well, I was a little bit confused that Chelsea sort of reverted, because they have been flip-flopping and going between a 4 and a 5 this season. So I thought they were going to line up with a 5 again, because Arsenal this season have been very narrow. They've been very narrow, because Zinchenko did it a lot at Man City, where he inverts and he basically becomes a midfielder. He started today, even though I believe he's just coming back from injury. He did start today. Arsenal generally have been very inverted and narrow. So I thought that from a defensive perspective, so I would have thought that Chelsea would have gone with a back 3/back 5 to try to utilize the wings. For example, like get Sterling running at those gaps that Arsenal naturally leave by being so narrow. But ultimately, Chelsea weren't. Chelsea only exploited it maybe twice. I think there was one where Havertz had a tame shot, and there was another one where I think maybe Havertz had the chance to square it and he didn't. I can't remember, but. That happened. So there clearly was something to take advantage of, but they just didn't opt for the formation which could have best done that.
Yeah, and also just like you said, from the wide points, I don't think Cucurella went in their half. I think from the whole game, I think I can only recall Azpilicueta putting one cross in and he put it over the bar out of play. And I can't remember another time when the ball was getting into the box, really. And Cucurella, just the most time I saw it was just him and Saka having like little tussles in near his own box. And so they're not even getting the fullbacks up. So I don't even know where the answer is at Chelsea at the moment, watching them play. Like, what is their plan? Because usually you can notice how a team wants to play, how you can stop them. But there doesn't seem to be any plan at all. Yeah. And
yeah, absolutely right. And I don't think even Graham Potter knows yet. I think that's why we've seen, player plays well, but then he benched him because he doesn't quite know his best team yet. He doesn't know what his best formation is, which is understandable when you go into a new club and it's a different level. But I do, for Potter's sake, I do hope that he sorts it out quickly, because Chelsea are not a club who will be that patient with him. In fact, I've already seen. So I know it's Twitter, so maybe it's not saying anything. But I've already seen some Chelsea fans question whether they want him as manager. Obviously, the unceremonious way in which Tuchel left hasn't helped matters either. He should never have been sacked, really. So Potter has a lot of work to do. He needs to get it done quickly.
I mean, the new owners will pull a Watford if they have to. I can just see it. That's what they'll do. Yeah,
you can kill Abramovich, the man. You can't kill the idea of prematurely sacking managers. Exactly. But as bad as Chelsea were, full credit to Arsenal, 100% deserved the win. We said this was good. Chelsea have been struggling recently, but this was still a really tough test for them. Ultimately, Chelsea did flatter to deceive, but I think that is partly because Chelsea were just poor, but also because Arsenal did very well and shut them down.
Yeah.
At the same time,
what I've enjoyed about Arsenal as well is how consistent they've been. There's been a level, and they've been at that level all season. There's been maybe glimpses where you've felt, oh, they're struggling, and that will happen when you've got a brand new team that's been put together in a year. But the level of performance is like a solid 7 to 8 for every player minimum, and that is the reason why they're top of the league.
Yeah. They've been the best side in the league so far. That's why they are top of the league. They've done very well. And I said if Arsenal beat Chelsea, I will say they are 100% in a title race, and they will take City down to like the last couple of games of the season. Gaskey, are you in agreement there? Even if some Arsenal fans are trying to downplay it, they're definitely in a title race, aren't they?
Oh, I agree, yeah. But at this point now, I always feel like before November, you're like, come on, like they're in a good run. Like look at Newcastle, they're in a great run as well. But when you get to November, that's when you need to look at the league and you think
exactly
who's in it. Everyone else is not good enough to be in a title race, so there's only. You say title race, there's at least 2 horses in it.
Yes.
And it has to be Arsenal, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we're a third of the way through the season. The table, as you say, we're in November, around a third of the way through the season. It's starting to take shape. That's for sure. We're starting to see who is going to be in that title race, who's going to be in a top 4 race, top 6 race, relegation fight, etc., etc. And Arsenal are 100% there for the long run. I think, so yeah, huge congratulations to Arsenal, Chelsea, and Graham Potter. A lot of work to do there, and I don't even know if Chelsea are going to get top 4 at this point. In fact, I don't think they will. I'm going to say it right now. Chelsea won't get top 4. Gaskey, quickly, where do you think they'll finish?
It's a really tough shout because no one's consistent, really. So it's good. I think they're either going to finish 4th or 5th. It's going to go down to the last game of the season, I think, and they're going to be involved in it.
There we go. Speaking of being involved, Lindelof was involved in this game, and Gaskey was upset about that fact as Unai Emery's Aston Villa beat Manchester United 3-1 in the Premier League. I believe this was Unai Emery's first official match in charge as well on the touchline. He's back to upset Manchester United fans after beating them in the Europa League as well. The good evening merchant. I did watch this game, but Gaskey, you obviously have watched it more intensely than I did. So what were the storylines? Were Aston Villa excellent? Were United poor? Was it a combination thereof? Let me know.
I think it was a lot more Villa were very good than United were very poor. Like I felt United had a lot of the game. They were playing their way that they want to play. Like they were winning the ball a lot in their third, as they're known to do under Ten Hag. But just there was no game plan in the last third. It was even Ten Hag when I said it. He was just throwing the ball in the box, hoping Ronaldo's on the end of it. There was no. It felt like they still had that kind of Ollie head in them. They still just hope for the best type thing. And these games are going to happen. You get a new manager, you're going to have I think the best performance they've had this season against Spurs. There's going to be Spurs games. There's going to be these Villa games. There's going to be games where you're going to lose them like that. Every manager's done it when they've come in. You've just got to trust it. It's going to be situated. Villa were very, very good. United were under par, I would say. I wouldn't say they were hugely poor. Again, they missed Bruno. Van der Beek just doesn't do enough. Like Bruno will constantly press. Yeah, okay, he's very high risk, high reward. He'll throw passes left and right. They'll go out of play. He'll give it away. But he tries to put the ball through and etc. Whereas I felt like Donny didn't really do much. Lindelof, I just thought personally, people might disagree, but apart from the free kick, 2 of the goals, I think kind of his fault. First one, maybe his Ten Hag's asked him to track the player, but he's not even put a tackle in. He just ran next to him for a bit, and then he's left a massive hole. Third goal, Ollie Watkins has ran from the halfway line all the way to the box. That to me is ridiculous. If he's got from the halfway line to the 30-yard point, you take a yellow card by then. You pull him down or you win the ball. You do either. But then people will always look at obviously who's marking Ramsey in the box. Well, you would think if a centre back is chasing this player's running at a centre back or running at a defender, he wouldn't need to run back all the way because he's going to win that ball. But he's not. He's just followed him the whole way. So, and then there was a good free kick. I mean, I've seen people mention that the wall wasn't in the right spot, but could grow up. Like it was a good free kick. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned. I'm not going to delve too much into it because they weren't. I wouldn't say they lost for the first time since the first two games. They weren't as poor as them games, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, Villa were just better.
Fair enough. Obviously, the correct decision to bring in Unai Emery. I think we touched in the last podcast. I understand Aston Villa are a big club, but Unai Emery is a Champions League, team level manager. So and we'll get on to Wolves later and their new manager. But it's kind of outrageous the level of manager that Premier League clubs are able to achieve. Aston Villa are a most mid-table side, and they've got Unai Emery, who was managing Arsenal a few years ago.
Do you think it's more the money that's in the Premier League and that's attracting them, or do you reckon it's actually the pull of the Premier League that the managers are willing to drop their kind of level of team they would manage?
I'm sure money's a huge part of it because at the end of the day, it is a job. But I think there's probably also a profile case in that, even if you're at a Europa League club, let's say in, I don't know, Italy, are you going to get more profile managing in the Europa League in Italy? That's just an example. Or sort of like mid-table level club in the Premier League. If you succeed, I would argue probably the Premier League club. So it might be a status booster thing as well. But you said it, that the money is obviously also going to be very good.
Definitely.
As well. And maybe it's like a test thing. Maybe he just wants to... Because I feel like Emery feels like he's got something to prove in England because it didn't go that well with Arsenal. So maybe there's an element of that as well. I just had one thing. A good summary of the United game. I just wanted to ask you one thing because you brought it up. Donny van de Beek. What's happening there? Because originally I felt sorry when he was signed. He was signed for a lot of money. It was 30 million, 40 million pounds. It was a decent amount.
In the middle, I think 35. I think it was.
So a decent amount.
Yeah.
And every single numerous managers have been at United whilst Van der Beek's been there. None of them have fancied him. Absolutely none of them. Even Ten Hag, who, correct me if I'm wrong, used Van der Beek at Ajax, so he should know when he was seems a very good player. So he should, in theory, know the player inside and out. Even he doesn't fancy him. So is the Van der Beek of Ajax? Is that player still alive, or what?
Yeah, I think there's I'll be quite lenient here. He has been injured this season, so that's also a factor. He hasn't been fit, but the problem you've got is he doesn't offer what Eriksen can offer in midfield. Because what Eriksen can offer is that deep lying passing. Because Casemiro can't really do that as well. He can play good passes, but you see he gives it away quite a bit. But Eriksen can do that, and that's what Ten Hag wants. And that's also a bit of an issue is Eriksen's having to play 90 minutes, and he can't. He just can't. He's not. He's too old to be doing that. He needs someone next. He needs someone quicker next to him, or he needs to be someone quicker. So that will be. That's I think just a short term. That's why he wanted De Jong to play in that position, because he's the same type of player, but also younger and he's more leggy. And I feel like Van der Beek's not good enough to do that job, but then Bruno's better than him at number 10. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to start games. And he's now fit, so I think he'll play a factor like in cup games, but he won't. I just don't think he'll get in the team. He's just not good enough to play. Like he did. I forgot he was on the pitch. He makes good runs off, behind the lines, but he just doesn't. He doesn't. Bruno does frustrate me, and I think he frustrates a lot of people. But he can get assists. He can hit the ball, and he'll play them passes through. Whereas Van der Beek, I just feel is like, okay, I'll play the short pass, I'll play the easy ball, and then move up. And it's like, no, you need more risk, and he just doesn't offer that. Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's the way that they played at Ajax helped him, but yeah, I just don't feel like he's the right player to fit at the moment. It's like a lot of players; they're not coming at the right time.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because he's had Ollie, he's had Ranić, and now he's got Ten Hag.
People have fans are constantly saying, no, Donny should be playing, and it's like, well, he's not doing enough when he's playing.
Yeah,
he's giving chances. Like he's started 2 games now. I forgot he was on the pitch against Sociedad, and I forgot he was on the pitch against Villa. So he's obviously not doing enough.
There you go. Speaking of doing enough, City did enough against Fulham when they beat them 2-1. That was a tenuous link. But yes, so Man City beat Fulham 2-1 Premier League. Huge result in that City were down to 10 men for 70 minutes, or approximately, because there were 5 minutes extra time, so it was around 70 minutes, and they conceded a penalty. It was all going plain sailing for City. 1-0 up, early goal, no Haaland on the bench. We've got Alvarez, who's a great player, by the way. I think because of Haaland, obviously, Alvarez has gone a little bit under the radar, but he is genuinely excellent. He's been really impressed with this season. He scored a great goal, shades of Aguero. He scored a great goal, and that should have been a normal day at the office. Cancelo did an uncharacteristic error. I know he made one against Liverpool as well, but in terms of his overall City career, it is an uncharacteristic error, and we'll touch on the refereeing. It was an error. It was a penalty. It was a red card, in my opinion, sadly. And then they converted. But then up step big Erling Haaland in the 95th minute for the penalty. We'll get onto the refereeing in a second. Gaskey, the first thing I want to talk about before we talk about the officiating is, if you come to the Etihad, then it's fair enough to camp, especially if you're newly promoted side, it's absolutely fair enough to camp, sit back, hope for a draw, absorb pressure, hit City on the counter, etc., etc. Do you not think it's a huge wasted opportunity that Fulham had 70 minutes where they're where they're equal with City against 10 men, and City have a centre-back at left-back, and they have a centre-back at right-back, and they were forced to play a defensive midfielder at centre-back, and they have no full-back threat because there's no Cancelo, there is no Walker, and Haaland wasn't even on the pitch for most of the match. So I feel like you're never really going to get a better chance to attack City, and Fulham ended up with less than 30% of the ball.
Yeah, you're 1-1. And you've got 60 minutes to go. It's a long time, but you 1-1. City are not going to create a lot if you're attacking. Like, other teams have played against City and they've played good football this season. But you think you would have thought when they were down 10 men, Fulham will give them a bit of a go here. Especially, like, Fulham haven't been crap this season. They've been half decent. It's not like you're playing Forest or Wolves, who are teams that are struggling. You're playing someone who's mid-table. You would think we'll go and have a go, and they didn't even do that. They didn't even have a go, and I think that frustrated me. It's the Premier League. Have a go, especially when you've got 60 minutes. Like, I understand if it was 70th minute, because trying to survive 20 minutes, but you've got another 60 minutes to go. You're not going to last 60 minutes. Okay, they almost did, but again, end of the day, they didn't, did they? So they could have easily got a second goal, and then City dropped points, but they just chose not to.
Yeah, they had two, after the penalty, they had 2 more shots in the game. 70 minutes against 10 men. And one shot on target, by the way, which was an embarrassing effort. It was just like some tepid effort from however long that Ederson easily smothered. So realistically, you had 1 shot in 70 minutes against 10 men, a team which has no fullbacks, a team which has centre-backs at fullback and defensive mid at centre-back. I don't know. Look, Fulham could do what they want. I thought it was just if I was a Fulham fan, I'd be really annoyed. I'd think it was a huge wasted opportunity. And rightly, they were punished for their poor play. Haaland came on, put the ball in the back of the net, was marginally offside. I think it's like top of his shoulder was offside, something very frustrating. That would have been another Kevin assist. But speaking of Kevin, he got an FPL assist because he won the penalty, which we will get into. Haaland then converted. It wasn't actually the best penalty by Haaland. Leno nearly saved it. But it does mean that Haaland has a 95% penalty conversion rate. Won the game for City. Oh, you can tell he adores this club. So I really notice when people are like, Haaland's only using City for a stepping stone. Look at his celebration, man. He loves this club. No chance. He's going to be here for 2 years and then dip. No chance. But anyway.
Sorry, just to stay on that.
Yeah.
About stepping stone club. It's not. It isn't. It's obvious to me that Haaland wants to kind of do what Ronaldo's done. He wants to go across all these big clubs and he wants to dominate Europe. That's what he wants to do. And he's joined the best team. He started with the best team in England, and he's already dominating this league. I do think he's going to go to Real Madrid, and he'll go and dominate Spain, and then he might go to Bayern Munich, I don't know, and dominate Germany. He might do, but that's what he wants to do. Doesn't mean he's a stepping stone club. It means he's going to try and win everything at City, get them to the first Champions League, and then he's going to go and do it again. And that makes a great player. So, people who think he's a stepping stone just need to get a life.
I know, yeah. But and also, just last thing on that, he could have gone to Real Madrid. They offered him the same money as City did. He chose City. He literally could have gone. So, anyway.
Exactly.
Anyway, the refereeing decisions. We talked about the Cancelo one. Definitely a penalty. In real time, I thought both were soft, but at the end of the day, and looking back on them, I thought both of them were definitely penalties. Gaskey, discuss.
Yeah, I think the first one when you first watch the replay, when you think that's a soft penalty, but written rule is it is a penalty and it is a red card because he hasn't attempted the ball. If he was to go down and try and hook the ball off him and miss the ball, he gets a yellow based on the rules because he's attempted to go for the ball. So maybe that's the only thing you could do differently is just be like, look, I'm probably going to give a penalty away here. Let's try and stay on the pitch rather than get sent off and get away with not giving a penalty away. Is what it is, but that was correct. The City penalty, I think it is a soft penalty, but it is a penalty at the end of the day. The reason I say it's soft, I think it's one of them where if it's not given, VAR doesn't give it. And that's the only reason I think it's soft.
That's fast.
But yeah, I do think personally, I think it was a penalty. It was barely any contact, but again, this contact.
Yeah, a penalty is as a penalty does, and it was just, and that would have been the most undeserved point for Fulham, by the way. I thought, cowardly. That's a strong word, but it was a cowardly performance by them considering they had such a huge opportunity. But yeah, big win for City. Haaland apparently said he felt really nervous before taking the penalty, hence his relatively poor penalty, but he got over it. And yeah, big win for City, especially with Arsenal winning the day after. Another big win was Liverpool getting their first away win of the Premier League season. Spurs 1, Liverpool 2. Eric Dier is an idiot, and it was shambolic. And I'm so happy that he will be in the back three for England at the World Cup. Can't wait to see him being a defensive idiot for England. Spurs were really bad in the first half, then much better in the second half. I thought probably a draw would have been a fairer result. At the end, the reason why Liverpool were able to get 2-0 lead was because of an individual moronic thing by Dier. Perisic hit the post twice. I think the second one in particular should have been a goal. But fine margins. But eventually Liverpool. It was a very good finish as well by Harry Kane. So what do I even want to say here? So Liverpool got the win, but Gaskey, it wouldn't be a NobCast without us having a go at Trent. Look at how happy you are to have a go.
You need to put a little tune in that's like, Trent is shit at defending. Or something added in.
Yes, obviously, congrats to Liverpool. They got the win. Was it a deserved win? I think a draw probably would have been a fairer result. Yeah. But there's not much else to dissect about the actual game itself. I thought Darwin Núñez did well, by the way. I thought he had a very good game. Trent, he's so bad at defending, it's genuinely hilarious at this point. It's actually like watching a baby defend. It blows my mind that he can be this bad, because you'd have thought by now that there's no way he doesn't know about all the criticism. You think he'd have stepped up a gear, but there was just one moment in particular. I don't know if you know the moment I'm talking about. It's Perisic. He outpaces him for a start, 33-year-old Perisic, brilliant. Gets outpaced, gets outmuscled, and then Trent makes two further mistakes in the same move, and then gives away a free kick. So he ends up making 3 errors in one phase. How is that even possible?
Yeah. I just don't. I'm gonna be fair now. I'm gonna start with being a bit fair.
I'm not.
He is right. This is nothing to do with his defending, but I will be fair. He's very, very good at passing the ball. There is moments when he can pass the ball without even taking a touch and just pinpoint, and it is amazing to see. Very, very good, and he's very good at set pieces and all that going forward. But he's right back. He's a right back as part one, and then he plays in defence. So that's your priority. I feel it's too late to move him because he's played that. Even though he's young, he's played that many games. You can't be right, can we merge him anywhere else? Can we get him into a right mid or something like that? No, it's too late because he's played that much at right back. But yeah, it's just it was the last for me. It was the end of the game Where is he going?
My God, yeah.
You're in the 90, what is it, like 94th minute? Tottenham are all over you. And you're thinking, let's go and get a third goal. And your right back has run off.
Yeah.
It's like you've pressed, right? Bring your FIFA into this now. You've pressed the pass and move button by accident, and your fullback's legged it. And it's like, oh shit, what have I done? You know, and it's just what goes through your head to do that?
Genuinely, and that instant you talk about, the commentators were like, "What's Trent doing?" And Henderson was screaming at him, going, "What are you doing, mate? Get back and defend!" It's like, what are you doing?
Well, again, this comes back to a past Grinds Gaskey's Gears moment.
Classic.
About English media. There is not enough criticism of him, in my opinion. There's more criticism about Martinez's height than there is at Trent's defending. And one of them you can change, and one of them you can't. It's not down to him. It's just genes, isn't it? But there needs to be more of, look, he needs to sort his defending out. He does. Yeah. But I feel like he's that good at passing the ball, and he's good at going forward, that they just pretend he don't need to defend. It's fine. But Liverpool are not good enough at the back this season, so he's being found out. Mm-hmm. And from an England point of view, England are not good enough, so he can't really play. So he really, for me, is he good enough?
No.
Like if you could get a good, it's one of those where if your rest of your like, for example, if Fabinho was playing well, because Fabinho's been very poor as well, and both of your centre backs are playing well, this is probably why the last couple of years no one's noticed it as much, because they've been that good. It's kind of disguised how poor he is at defending, but the whole team's being figured out now. He's figuring out how actually bad he is.
And he was really bad in that. I'm sorry, he gave away a penalty. I don't care. That's 100% penalty.
There was a chances, the penalty. Like, it's for me, that you see a lot of them incidents where the player's gone down the byline and he's been pushed over. But I feel like the referees too often think the player's just gone down because he's lost control. But for me, it's even if you watch the replay, it's a shove.
Blatant.
It's a complete shove.
It's like that, isn't it? It's like, what are you doing? Even Graham Souness said it was.
It's what Cancelo did. There's no different. But because Cancelo did it when the player's in a shooting position, I don't get it. Well, again, it's consistency, isn't it?
Well, here's a fun fact about that. So, something I didn't talk about in the City game, I did talk about in my matchday vlog. Even though the two key decisions were correct, the overall refereeing was shambolic. In that game, terrible. You won't have seen it on Match of the Day because it won't make a highlights package, but yellow card decisions, fouls, little things like that, but which add up and frustrate a home crowd, obviously. He was terrible. Darren England, I think he was called. Who was on the VAR in the Spurs-Liverpool game?
I think I heard it. Was it the same one that was in the City-Liverpool game?
Yes, Darren England. It was Darren England.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
So the main referee in the City game, who was awful throughout, was also on VAR in that game.
Right, so the same guy gave the Cancelo one, but didn't give the Trent one.
Yeah, and I appreciate the Cancelo one is more. It's more obvious. It is more blatant.
More central.
It's
more central. Yeah, but it's the same thing.
It's the same principle. It should have been the same end result. And if you're a Spurs fan, I think you can genuinely feel aggrieved because maybe Trent should have got sent because he wasn't trying to play the ball. So if that's given, it's a red card, isn't it? Because he's not playing the ball. If that's the law of the game,
I feel I get that, but I do feel it's not. He's not under full control of the ball, and it's not in a shooting position enough.
But it's at least a penalty, isn't it?
Oh no, it's definitely a penalty and a yellow card. Easily.
So if you're a Spurs fan, I think you can genuinely feel aggrieved that you should have had a penalty. As I say, I thought a draw would have been a fair result. Not that Liverpool winning is an unfair result. I just thought a draw would have been a fair result. Yeah. But maybe now we can stop seeing mental Liverpool fans complaining that there's this conspiracy for the referees out to get Liverpool and that they're always being targeted and they never get the right results. And it's like, where are those people now? Is my question. Yeah. But there we go.
And just one more thing on that game as well. Yeah. Spurs need to start playing like that in the first half because every game in the first half, they're just shit. And they let teams come at them, they go behind. It's clear, look how they can play. And there's one player that's changed that team, and he's come back from injury, and it's Kulusevski.
I was going to say Kulusevski.
As soon as he came on the pitch, he changes the game. You can't rely on one player.
Also, sorry, just the last thing I want to say. Gaskey, fun fact, did you know that there is a right back / right wing back in the Premier League who is worse at defending and just general play than Trent Alexander-Arnold? Did you know that?
No, but I know where it's coming from. Is it Emerson Royale?
It bloody is. Oh my god, he's so bad.
Have you heard the Tottenham chant?
No.
Like they have a chant that say he can't defend, he can't attack. Emerson Royale, he's our right back. There's actually a chant. I'm sorry, but if you hear that chant, you must think
that must be so demoralising, man.
It must. It must, because he's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look. I haven't seen enough of Spurs. Maybe Doherty, maybe Spence aren't performing well when they are playing. I thought Doherty played well when he came on. Emerson's got to stop playing because he can't do it. He's just so bad. He's a terrible player. That no look pass miss against was it Marseille or someone? I can't remember. It was embarrassing either way.
It is.
But yeah, that was Spurs 1, Liverpool 2. Huge result and win for Liverpool. As I say, I thought Darwin Núñez played really well as well. Salah amongst the goals, capitalising on Spurs being sloppy defensively, in particular Eric Dier, who will be sloppy at the World Cup, I'm sure. In terms of the other results, Leeds with a big comeback against Bournemouth. They won 4-3. Bournemouth are creeping slowly down and down and down towards the relegation zone. They're only a few points above the relegation zone now, Gaskey.
It is. It's like they got to the top half and thought we shouldn't be here.
We know our place. Yeah. And then conversely, Leeds, who were also at danger of dropping down, that's a big 3 points for them, and exactly. a big could be
waved
a huge
at Bournemouth
boost
on the way past.
Yes, exactly. West Ham 1, Palace 2. Story of West Ham's season. Very unlucky in respect of deflections in this game, deflected goals. I think you can feel aggrieved if you're a West Ham fan, to be honest. Palace, I haven't really been able to nail down what I think of Palace this season. They've been a bit hot and cold at times.
Like they've been your typical we're just there. We're in the league.
Exactly. Hello. I guess that's the definition of a mid-table team, isn't it? Hot, cold. Ends up being that. Southampton 1, Newcastle 4. Now this match had just quickly touching on the match very quickly. Didn't watch it in full. I did read some analysis on it, and what's funny is that if you know the term I've been FM'd, I've been football manager, that means that it means you had more XG, you had more possession, you had more shots, more chances created, more attacking threats, more expected threats, more etc. etc. Southampton had all of that, but they're only able to score 1 goal compared to Newcastle's 4. Maybe that's down.
And that 1 goal came out of absolutely nothing.
Exactly. But ultimately did mean that Hasenhüttl, he's either sacked or he's almost definitely going to be sacked now. It's basically confirmed. Is that the right?
I think it's been confirmed. He has been sacked.
It's been confirmed. Today. Okay. Yeah. I think he's a good manager, Gaskey. What do you think? Is that the right decision?
I think he's had enough time. People. I think I've seen some. I think it might have been Michael Owen who said like it's the completely wrong decision, but I'm like it's not. He's been there for a long time, and they've got absolutely nowhere. So I think they have a right to decide they want change. And I mean, I feel like his philosophy, like transfers and stuff, is good. Like he brought in that guy from Germany, didn't he? That 18-year-old who was very, very good at centre back. And he brings in a lot of younger players. Like he got that City goalkeeper, didn't he? And he's good. He's building a young team up, which is cool. But you've had loads of time, and you've given him so many 9-0s. It's like, I'm surprised you're still there. But again, Newcastle, they're a rash, aren't they? They're a rash. They're so there. Good. They're not going anywhere. They're there now. And Almiron's made me look a right mug.
Gaskey did a Grealish by having a go at Almiron at the start of the season, and
to be fair, he was shit in that game.
yeah. To be fair, you are correct. I think in terms of the so Newcastle in absolute bits. Other games, Everton losing against Leicester 2-0. Screamer from Tillemans. Forest drawing against Brentford 2-2, and Wolves losing against the mighty Brighton at home 3-2 to Brighton. And Lopetegui has been confirmed as the new manager, formerly of Spain, I believe, also very briefly of Real Madrid. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
this is the guy that Spain sacked just before the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yes, because
was he the one that came in?
one or the other, but I'm sure. Yeah, there's definitely a Real Madrid situation there. But as we talked about with the Aston Villa Emery situation, it's another big.
There's some pull there, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's some pull.
It is a bit mad, the quality of the manager that we have in this league. Obviously, we've got Pep and Klopp and Ten Hag, Arteta. Even towards the lower ends now, we've got Emery and now Lopetegui and also Eddie Howe at Newcastle. Absolute sins. Brighton, my team, getting the win there. But yes, guys, that is the roundup thoughts of this week's action.
It's all here and it's all the football, all the time.
We're going to do a mini game now, as you will have heard on the last podcast. We're going to rotate the mini games, so it's Gaskey's turn this week. We're doing Guess the Career Path. I think you've got 3 names for me. The basic premise is you give me the players, clubs he's played at. I've got to try to guess who it is.
I will, yes, and I've got 3 for you. I've got what I would consider easy, medium, hard. You might disagree, and you might kick off at me, but it is what it is.
Okay,
so
let's go.
We're going to start with the easy one. So. Okay. This is this player's career path.
Right.
Started at Birmingham City.
Okay.
Then he went to Leicester.
God, okay.
Then went to Bayer Leverkusen. And then went to Everton.
Okay. Oh, is it? No. Am I allowed to know if they're still playing?
Yes, and they are still playing. That's the one question you can have is if they're retired or still playing.
Okay.
They are still playing.
So they're still playing. They're still at Everton. Who on earth did... My first instinct was... Now, when you say career path, this could be loans, couldn't it?
I'll give you that one as well, I'll be fair. I'll give you that one as well. There's no loans. These are all permanent.
Oh, God, I was thinking Lookman, because I think he went to Germany.
I can't remember where he's at. I think he's at Atlanta now, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, never mind. It's not him then. Oh my word! So he's if he started in Birmingham, he's obviously English. I've no idea who was at Leverkusen.
Only briefly.
Oh, maybe that's a bit of a red herring then. Oh my gosh, I have.
If you were to think Leicester to Everton and pretend Leverkusen was there, you could probably maybe figure it out.
Leicester to Everton. Oh. Am I allowed to ask one more question? Is he like a regular starter?
Yeah. He played a lot last season. I definitely know that, and I've seen him. But he has played this season.
Oh, is it Harvey Barnes? No, he plays for Leicester. What am I talking about? Oh my god! I don't know. I don't know.
No, you have the position. Saying Harvey Barnes.
Okay. So he's a winger.
This is worrying. This is. I thought this was the easy one.
Oh god, I'm so bad, man. No, I don't know.
It's a Damari Gray.
I forgot I'm so sorry. I forgot he existed. Can't lie. Yeah, no, yeah.
Everton fans who watch this podcast now are gonna have their pitchforks out. How dare you?
Oh yeah. In fact, oh god, yeah, he did go to Leverkusen. Yeah, was at Leverkusen for like a season, wasn't he?
They signed him for like $1 million, didn't they?
Oh yeah, in the Rafa Benitez season. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. So
that was the easy one.
This is what I think is a medium one, and you might be better at these ones, right?
Okay.
So this player is retired.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ajax.
Okay. Oh, right.
Then AC Milan.
Okay.
Then Barcelona.
Oh god. Okay.
Then Newcastle. Then Valencia.
Newcastle.
Then PSV.
Right.
Then Lille.
Right.
And they're retired.
Right. So they're obviously. Oh, no, maybe not obviously. I'm going to assume they're Dutch. Lille. The Newcastle one is throwing me off. That's the thing. I don't know the era either. That's the upsetting thing.
I mean, to be fair, I gave you a few questions on the thing you want. You can ask a couple if you want.
Oh, God. Okay.
I'll give you their primary team. So they played their most games at Barcelona.
God.
And they only played 25 games for Newcastle very briefly.
Oh, God. Are they a noughties player?
So their first season is 1994 and they retired in 2008.
God. Oh, if they barely... Oh, I've no... Ajax, Barca, Newcastle, Valencia. Oh, my I am shit.
I would say it's the first three that you should be looking at. The rest of them are like, I didn't even know he played for the last three.
What was it? Ajax, Barca, Newcastle, yeah?
Ajax, he went to Ajax, from Ajax to Milan to
Milan. Sorry, I wrote out Barca twice for some reason.
Yeah, AC Milan.
AC Milan. No, I'm not going to get it. No idea.
No. Patrick Kluivert.
Oh my god. I hate everything.
Oh.
This is
the hard one.
I can't remember him at Newcastle, you know. I can't remember that. That's really bad.
2004, 2005, you played that 20 times.
God, yeah, I can't remember that. Flipping heck. Right, yeah. So this is brilliant. Right, okay.
Right, so this is the hard one. I wouldn't be surprised if you get this one off the bat, right? And this person's also retired.
Right, okay.
So, started their career at Hednesford Town.
No, don't even know what that is.
Then went to Stockport County.
Okay, still doesn't help me.
He then went to Swansea City.
Okay.
He spent most of his career at Swansea.
Right.
Then went to Everton.
Right.
Then went to Stoke on loan.
Right.
And then went to Bristol City.
God. Swansea.
And I'll give you... Swansea was his primarily part of his career.
The primary club was Swansea. And is he a tens player?
Yes. Yes. Like late noughties, early tens.
God, I feel like I should definitely be able to get this, and yet
you should.
And yet I don't think I'm going to be honest. Because I'm such a moron.
Okay, let's even get you one. I'll give you the position. He's a centre back. And he's retired. Did I say he was retired?
Ashley Williams.
Yes, yeah. He's done it. He's done it.
Oh my god. Jesus, I'm so bad, man. But there we go.
It's tough when you're on the spot.
It's tough, yeah. It's tough. Yeah, because I can't even think what nationality, what position, what but yes, there we go. Thank you for helping me with that. There we go. That was Williams.
Hoping we get to a point where there'll be no questions and you'll just know. But yeah. I've also noticed though, when I do these on TikTok, when other podcasts and stuff do it, seeing the badges for some reason helps my brain. It's weird.
Right. Okay. We might need to come up with some sort of graphic thing.
Yeah. I think so.
for that to happen. But there we go. That's me attempting and, let's be honest, failing at guess the career path.
Every football team will be playing football several times and in various combinations.
Let's get into the main topic. The Champions League draw happened today. Some really tasty fixtures. Some that we don't even really need to talk about that much. RB Leipzig versus City. City should be winning that comfortably. Frankfurt, Napoli. Napoli should be winning that quite comfortably. But apart from that, the rest are fair game for me. Maybe because Bruges, Benfica. Benfica should be winning it. But we've got some really interesting fixtures here. Liverpool, Real Madrid, the last year's final. AC Milan, Spurs. That's tasty. Dortmund, Chelsea, even that's really interesting. Inter, Porto, not the sexiest, but I could see that going either way. And PSG, Bayern Munich. I mean, from a Man City perspective, I could not really have asked for a more perfect draw because City have one of the weaker sides in the competition, whilst two of Bayern, PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid are getting eliminated, which is a little bit mad. So, Gas, give me your sort of initial thoughts on that draw. What do you think is going to be the most exciting game? And how do you see that draw sort of going out? Are we going to have any shocks? And how do you see the English teams performing?
Yeah, I think the Liverpool-Madrid game for me will be, one of that and obviously the PSG-Bayern game are the two standout ones. And I think they will be the most exciting matches. Real Madrid are Real Madrid. They're always going to be there in the Champions League. Liverpool, are they getting better and better? We'll see. Big game. PSG-Bayern, will Messi haunt them again? Be interesting to see. Bayern looking a bit different, aren't they? They've signed a few players, different players in there now. So that'll be an interesting game. Milan-Tottenham, like you said, that's a very, very tasty tie. Both, I'd say, a similar level. Maybe Milan's I think Milan are going to edge that one. Chelsea-Tottenham, I can't see Chelsea winning any games.
Chelsea-Dortmund.
Chelsea, that's what I meant. Chelsea-Dortmund, I think Dortmund will edge that one.
Oh, okay.
For example, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's from a City perspective, because I think City are favourites. That is perfect in a way.
Genuinely.
Because if, let's say, when they do the quarter-final draw, if we're going to say City go through, which they should, they could potentially get a waltz to the final, really, if they can avoid these big teams.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, eventually, in theory, you've got to play at least one big team. You'd like to think so. But if you could ask me, would you rather... Because I'd say, excluding City, who are sort of like the four main favourites, I probably would put Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern in that four, if we're excluding City.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
So
I think, for me, it would be the top three would be City, PSG, City, Bayern, Real Madrid, PSG, like you said. Yeah. And two of them are going.
Exactly.
So... And then if you can avoid the winners, if they were to get each other. So, for example, if Real Madrid to beat Liverpool and Bayern beat PSG, and they Real Madrid Bayern in the quarters, City, I'm sorry, but you have to win it. That's your chance.
Yeah. So it's all falling in line for City. Is it potentially? Can I see an upset? Maybe Bruges can beat Benfica, for example. But the way I see it is, I think City will go through. I think Benfica will go through. I think Real Madrid will go through. I think Spurs will go through. I think Napoli will go through. I still think Chelsea will go through. I think it's after the World Cup. I think Potter will have sorted himself out by then. I think there might just be too much over two legs for Dortmund.
Yeah.
I do still think Inter will go through, and the PSG Bayern game, I think the Bayern are going to pump PSG, to be honest. I know a lot's been made of me and my sort of how I don't really rate PSG, and I do think that they couldn't beat Benfica in 2 games. They couldn't top their group. So I'd be staggered if they beat they were able to get past Bayern Munich, bar any significant injuries.
Yeah. I think with each draw, I think it's fair to go off how teams are performing in the groups. Like Chelsea made it look. I mean, apart from it's just Zagreb for some reason, they just couldn't deal with them. But they just made mincemeat of Milan, and it makes you think Tottenham will beat them. But then Tottenham kind of stumbled through their group, didn't they? So that would be an interesting game. But I think Benfica is starting to look like a force, aren't they? Really, the last couple of years, even losing their number 9 striker. Yeah. They'll just go and find someone else in the academy and put them in. Yeah. And they're looking like a good force. Napoli are just animals at the moment as well. They really are. Obviously, the one blip against Liverpool, but apart from that.
Yeah, and they've obviously got a favourable draw. We won't know the tournament tree until the next round. It's going to be a while. It's going to be after the World Cup. I think it's February and March these games are played, so we will be waiting a while for it. Does this draw strengthen? Because I believe that you said City are going to win the Champions League. Yeah. So does this draw just strengthen your resolve in that respect? Yeah.
I think this doesn't make me look like a mug yet. I think yet. And then based on when the tree comes out next round, because I do think City will go for against Leipzig. That will then I'll be able to see if I'm more confident, because like I said, 2 of them big teams are going. And if they're on the other side of the draw from them, they get to the final, it's 90 minutes away from winning it. Which, I mean, they were to Chelsea and then they completely bottled it. But you never know, do you? You never know.
Indeed. And we'll briefly touch on the just one draw from the Europa League. Manchester United getting Barcelona.
It's as I predicted.
Well, listen, just before we touch on that, I am sort of happy that the teams that couldn't top their group have been punished in a way. So, for example, PSG didn't top their group. They've been given Bayern Munich. Liverpool didn't top their group. They've been given Real Madrid. United, I know it was controversial in terms of the first game, but they didn't top their group. They've been given Barcelona. So I'm a bit happy that teams that didn't top their group have got a harder time. Because in theory, that's what's supposed to happen, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. I still don't think it's fair that if you finish third in your Champions League group, you get another chance at winning European silverware. I don't think that's fair.
I think you should get knocked out immediately.
If you finish third, I'm sorry, you finished third out of 4. How can you go, here's another chance for you to go and get back in the Champions League next season if you're crap in the league all season?
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. Whereas it's one of those where if you win your Europa League group, I think it's more fair to let them have a chance of getting in the Champions League. It shouldn't, but I think that would be more fair. For example, the Sociedad to play whoever finished second in the Champions League group, for example, to get in the Champions League. But I wouldn't like to see that either, but that would be more fair. But yeah, but again, I predicted that would happen because it just seems to. I'm not going to say rigged. I was joking to you earlier, but I'm not going to say it. But it just happens a lot. It really does. Like, how often? Like, I'm not amazing at maths. When it comes to probability, certain draws just happen too often, and it just makes me think, like, how? How does it happen so often? Everyone said that would be the draw, and it is. So it's just one of them, innit? It's one of them.
So my sort of thoughts on that is, not having to go at you because you said yourself it's not necessarily rigged. Sorry, lots of people have said it's rigged, and lots of people do think it is rigged. What I would say to that is, how many people do you think they'd have to bribe to keep quiet? Because they'd have to bribe every single individual picker of the balls, wouldn't they? In order, if we're to assume that a rigged system exists, obviously the UEFA people, the Italian guy that comes out with the grey hair, obviously he's on the payroll of this conspiracy. But they always get a different picker of the ball. Sometimes it's like four on the thing at once, and they're all like ex-professionals and stuff. And it's always a different person each year. So how many people are in on this conspiracy? It's got to be in the hundreds right now, and we haven't heard any of them come out and say, "Oh, BT Dubs, this is rigged."
Oh yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's not me saying it's rigged or anything, but I just think like it's such a simplified system in the modern day that there's certain things that could change that could kind of just be like, oh look, it's not. Like when you watch the draw, they pick the balls up, don't they? Like the team can play, and they put it in another see-through thing so you can see them mix it up. But I think what the people are complaining about on this draw, for example, is I think it's Alton Geary who was picking the balls, has basically watched the guy pick the balls up, so he can watch the ball as it's going along. Do you know what I mean? So in his head, he could be like, "Oh, Barca United would be quite a good draw." He can watch that ball, know which ball's which, go all the way across, and then he can mix it up, and he knows which ball it is. That to me is a slight problem, where it's like hiding or something. I don't know. It's like he can actually watch it, so he kind of has the decision in a way. If that makes sense. So, rather than when you do an FA Cup draw, I know it's different Champions League because you can't play against the same country, for a team from the same country. But, it's a black bag. You put your hand in, you pluck a number out. Look, can't be rigged. Not a chance. So, unless you weigh the balls, but then that's just people who are just going to be absolute losers and think, no, yeah, that ball was heavier. So I Chelsea playing City this week. But, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a conspiracy? No, there isn't. Not for me anyway. But there is something else which has really angered Gaskey.
It is impossible to keep track of all the football, but your best chance is here.
I alluded to it earlier, the fact that this is such an action-packed... I mean, this is a particularly long podcast because of all the interesting games and all the other stuff that's happened. But there were lots of interesting games. Like in a normal podcast, we would have talked about, Leeds 4, Bournemouth 3 for a long time, the Newcastle game for a long time, the Brighton game for a long time. But there was such an action-packed weekend of football, Gaskey, and we barely got to watch any of it. Hooray!
Exactly. It's absolutely ridiculous.
In case you don't know, we're talking about somehow there is a blackout rule in England for football. No, it doesn't just apply to English football, all football. So you couldn't watch a Spanish game in England, which is taking place at the same time. It's all football. I actually did a video about it like last year or something. You can go watch if you want to understand the history of it. But very, very briefly, the basic premise: it came out as a rule decades ago because there was a worry that the introduction of TV broadcasting would take people away from IRL attendances. So the idea was that we need to safeguard the lower leagues and just the football attendance in general by doing this blackout rule. And that was the idea, the general gist of the idea. But that was a rule which came out literally decades ago, and England still uses it as a rule. And Gaskey, this is what has ground your gears this week.
It is because it comes to Saturday, and no lunchtime kick-off as there normally is on a Saturday. Apart from, can't remember which game was on at 5:30. There was one game, but everything else was on at 3:00, and you couldn't watch any of them. All you could do is watch match of the day. You can't pick any championship games. That's who you support, or like you said, foreign matches. And I just thought, what's the point? People are arguing, saying we should be going down to watch them then and stuff. So, I think about it at the moment, can't afford it. Most people can't. Some people might support teams where they don't really live anymore, potentially, so they can't really go to the game. Whereas I'm an avid fan of NFL, American football, and there you pay. I think it's like $7.99 a month. Pick what game you want to watch. Oh, you can watch your equivalent to like Soccer Saturday, where you get updates for all the scores and you watch all the goals as they go in. But why in this day and age, the biggest league in the world, can the people in the country not watch the games?
It is quite funny, isn't it, that people in another country can watch games played in England, but the English people can't unless they're in the stadium.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is.
I've thought about this a lot, and apparently they're going to trial it next year with championship games. I believe the BBC is going to have every single championship game available for viewing. So apparently they are ditching the blackout rule for the championship, I think, next season as a trial.
But then you'll know this more than me. You know this stuff more than me. So why, when Prime have it, can they have all the games on?
Prime don't have it on a weekend, though, do they?
They have it. They have it midweek, but then also, if it's not with Prime, the other broadcasters don't have them all the games, and these championship games on midweek as well. Sometimes, I think when the Prime have had it. So why? What's the difference? So I just don't. I don't get it.
I mean, sometimes they just choose to not broadcast matches. That's the thing. Like a lot of the times, they will have the rights to broadcast a match, but they'll just be like, "No, we're not even going to bother broadcasting that one."
I understand if like there's a certain fixture on because you want to get everyone watching that big game, but I feel like Saturday 3 p.m. is like it's like football time. Get it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. And what? So I've had like debates about this with people online and in like my YouTube comment section on that video, that sort of thing. So the general premise of it is, I don't agree with this, but the argument is if the blackout rule didn't exist, then that would detriment like lower league / and/or non-league attendances, because the idea is that Gaskey, let's say that you live in Salford, let's say. The idea is that, you can't watch Manchester United at 3 p.m, therefore you will go physically to go watch Salford City, because they're playing at home. And the idea is that you will then contribute to a lower league team, and that helps support the lower league. I would love to know what the percentage of people who solely go to a non-league / lower league team, which they don't support, just because their team isn't available to watch on TV legitimately. And I say legitimately because this is important now, because the rule came out decades ago. We now live in an era of online streaming, and piracy is very easy to achieve, with minimal risk. So, for example, here is the scenario. I'm a football fan. My Premier League team isn't on TV, so I've got some options. Do I do nothing, just like I'll watch a match a day later, I don't care, or just catch up later? Do I 2, just like keep an eye on it on my phone, like with the score updates? Do I 3, listen to it on the radio and just like that? Do I 4, watch, what is that, Gillette Super Saturday, where they do score updates, and that's a way to stay updated on all the games? Do I 5, illegally stream it myself, which is very easy to do? You just like you can Google whatever. Don't do it, but you can do it very, very easily. It's really easy to find free streams online which show the game. Or do I 6? Do I 6? Buy a VPN and get like a foreign net? So do I get beIN Sports on my PC or on my TV or whatever to watch that legitimately? Or do I go to a pub which is showing the game anyway, either legitimately or not? So I've got like 7 options there. Or the 8th option, do I
go and watch some random club on your phone?
Exactly. Does Gaskey, so we use you in this scenario, does Gaskey, who is a United fan, go down to Salford City, a lower league team which he has no affiliation or care for, in a cost of living crisis? Who are these people who are allegedly doing this? I guarantee it's a minute number. So I really question the logic and arguments that get rid of the blackout rule, you detriment the lower league attendance. There is zero evidence of this. Here's the thing. There is zero, because it's never happened before. So these people are assuming it's going to happen, but it has never happened. Germany is the closest example where they have no blackout rule. and they do have a lower league football, etc. But it works fine for them. That's the closest example we can get to.
Germany arguably have the best atmosphere as well,
and they have the best sort of like fan connections with the teams as well. So I don't really buy it as an argument. There is zero evidence of it. As I mentioned before, you can go to the pub, you can listen to it on the radio, you can illegally stream it yourself, you can just watch Soccer Saturday, you can get score updates, you can do all these other things, or I'll go watch a non-league team I don't actually really care about.
Do you think it's more people who support Prem teams than others? Because you're saying they're trialing it next season with Championship teams. I can't see that people going, oh, it's on TV, I'm not going to travel. They're still going to go.
Yeah.
They're still going to go to the games. Do you think it's more Premier League fans, like people who, let's say, for example, like you said, for me, for example, if I was in Salford or someone elsewhere, they might go, oh, yeah, okay, it's on TV now, that game. There's no point in me going now. I usually, I could have gone to go and watch Reading, for example, but it's on TV. I don't need to.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I don't know where the data is. Just from an anecdotal perspective, the attendance at the Etihad, for a 3 p.m. Saturday game is no better than the attendance if the game was on TV at 5:30.
The same people. I think the same people would be there. It will make a difference. Yeah. They still go.
For me, it's. I think what should happen is because obviously I do think that lower league football should be protected and stuff, and there should be enough funding in it and stuff. I don't want to come across as, I hate the lower leagues and it should all be about the Premier League. No. If for whatever reason there is a detrimental impact, then what I think should happen is that the extra money you would get from broadcasting the extra games, because here's the thing, if you broadcast more games, which would happen if you didn't have a blackout rule, you would get more money from advertisers. Use that money and give it to the lower league sides. Let's say
a certain percentage.
Yeah, let's say worst case scenario that I don't know, Oldham. It's like, oh well, since the blackout rule, our attendance has gone down 50%. Therefore, we're losing X amount of income. Be like, okay, well here's the subsidy that we're force the Premier League to give a subsidy from the extra money they're getting from the broadcast revenue to do it, because it shouldn't. The actual physical attendance shouldn't really matter. Surely it's about the existence and survival of the clubs, which can be achieved if you give them basically the donation, saying, sorry, we took away some of your fans. Here's the money to compensate you, and that's like an annual thing, so they don't actually lose anything. So that's my thoughts on it, Gaskey. Do you relatively agree?
Yeah, it's obviously a very, very old-fashioned system they've got that needs to go. Simple as that. Yeah, very outdated.
Scrap the 3 p.m. blackout rule. It's highly fraudulent, say Nobbins and Gaskey. There we go.
It will never be finally decided who has won the football.
We have some questions from my Noblets on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Patreon. A very quick one from KX. Thoughts on Maltesers?
Solid S tier, I would say.
Oh, wow. Solid S tier. Okay.
Yeah, nothing against Maltesers.
And very quick.
I mean, they're quite dull, they're quite basic, but I think S tier. I love chocolate and I love Maltesers.
And how do you eat them? Obviously, by putting them in your mouth, but some people suck off all the chocolate. Some people just throw them in. What do you do?
Just eat them. Just don't have to
That's
suck
what
the
I
chocolate
do.
Just eat them. Just eat them.
That's what I do, but some people do that, don't they? Because they're freaks.
And also, can we agree that the Maltesers in the celebration are the best ones?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Thank you. Good job. Otherwise, that would have been an extra hour on the podcast.
Lucas asks, if you weren't allowed to support either City or United, who would you support in the Premier League? I've made my feelings on this known. Brighton. Gaskey, how about you?
That's a really tough question, because I think I have a similar soft spot for Brighton, because I feel like they're the only team that play decent football that's outside of the top six.
Oh, Brentford. When you be a Brentford fan?
Oh, Brentford, yeah. I quite like Brentford as well. I do quite like Brentford, yeah.
Good shout, there you go.
Those would be those two.
I like both those clubs. They're very good choices. Dier asks, if you had to watch one movie for 5 hours straight, what would it be? Now, 5 hours is very specific. So, I don't know. Let's say you've got to watch the same film for like a week just to up the ante.
Okay.
What would you watch?
Ooh.
I think I would probably watch either Goodfellas or Wolf of Wall Street, because not only are they long films, there's a lot going on in those films. So you can, every time you rewatch it, you could have a different experience, that sort of thing.
And these boobs in Wolf of Wall Street as well.
And there are tits. Excellent stuff.
And there's tits. I would say, yeah. Shawshank Redemption, maybe.
I'm still yet to watch that. I need to watch that.
Oh, you need to watch that.
I do.
You need to watch.
I know.
Shawshank
Oh,
Redemption.
I know. There you go. So Gaskey Shawshank
We'll do it
Redemption. live on podcast. And last question, Ed asks, this is a good one. If you could travel back in time, what year/era would you go to and why?
That's a really good question.
It is, isn't it? Because I mean, many things have happened in
There's
history.
a lot of eras. There's a lot of eras.
Let's assume that you're not allowed to change anything. You're only allowed to observe it, like Scrooge in Christmas Carol.
Yeah. So I'm sat back. They can't see me.
Yeah.
But I can watch.
You're just observing. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'd go very historical. I wouldn't go like something quite recent. I'd probably go to like ancient Greek times, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like do you know what? Or, you know, like the historic wonders of the world, and go and see when that stuff existed.
Oh yeah, before they all got destroyed. Yeah.
Like the Lighthouse of
Zeus.
Alexandria and Colossus Rhodes and things like that. Yeah. So that kind of era.
That's very good. I like that answer. So you can't go back and ask questions, and I'd maybe like to see how the pyramids were built. That would be interesting.
Imagine being the only person to exist to be like, they weren't slaves doing it. Can you imagine? The only one.
Yeah, I'm also thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe something like the birth of, like, maybe for example the birth of like what people think is like, you know, Jesus Christ, and see what actually happened there. Was he actually a mythical man, or was he a charlatan? That sort of thing. That might be interesting.
Yeah. The only other one that would be more recent, like a more recent one for me, would be to see if man did walk on the moon. There's so much that's just so dodgy, isn't it? That's so 50-50.
If you believe conspiracy theories, then
many. There's so many though, isn't there? Like,
no, there aren't.
There is.
No, there aren't.
I mean, they're
give
all
me
American.
five. Give me five. Then.
No, do you know what I mean? Like the wonders of the world were they man-made? Were they not? You know,
what, was there a little alien involved?
You never know. You never know. You never know. Like the whole 9/11 situation. Was it rigged?
Was it rigged? Right. UEFA have been involved after again.
Was it the government? Was it the government? You know these things. Like I'm not one of these. Like I'm not into the conspiracy theories.
Sounds like you watch a lot of their content.
No, I'm not. But I just want it to be in black and white that these people just need to shut up. Look, like Earth being flat. Just send them all to space and let them have a look and go like, shut up.
Yeah, they do need to chill out. So I think ancient Greece is a good shout. Maybe I'd go to ancient Egypt and see what was kicking off there. But that is NobGas. Thank you guys so much for your questions. And now we are approaching that part of the podcast. Woo! It's BallBusters! BallBusters! You guys leave your comments on the YouTube channel. It's a new YouTube channel, by the way. It's just NobCast on YouTube. That's where all the future podcasts will be going. And the previous ones are also here in the podcasts. Playlists, same rules. Cryptic clue, 3 of them. Player or former footballer. Footballer or former footballer. 3 cryptic clues. Leave your answer as a comment. You can win prizes, including Nob coins, our currency on stream, and a Discord role, and Eternal Glory. Last week's were DB, all the time I can't see.
Daily, I'm blind.
Daily blind. P.S. SpongeBob's friend has done a turd.
Patrick Shit.
Patrick Schick. And Gerard is brutal SS.
Stephen is a savage.
Stefan Savage, well done, Gaskey, got those immediately. And we've done very well this week. Jack, Ed, Village, and Dier all got all 3 of them. So, Gaskey, if you could please give me a number between 1 and 4.
We're going to go with 3 this time.
You've gone for 3. And the winner is Village. Well done, Village.
Ooh,
I think
it's his first time.
I think it might be. He's got a fair few right, but this is his first time winning. So well done, Village. I will sort out your goodies and treats. Tayab, if you could please do the honors of giving him 1,000 Nob coins, that would be sensational. And let's move on to this week's clues, shall we? Which Gaskey's already got. So he's getting very good at these. He might have to start writing them himself. He'll have to take over me. The first initials are LM. LM. And the cryptic clue, over there, one of the people who police Discord servers is wealthy. Over there, one of the people who police Discord servers is wealthy. SK. That tragic one from the In-Betweeners, he seems to mind a lot. That tragic one from the In-Betweeners, he seems to mind a lot. And the last one is CL. That French lower body team, it's really lengthy. That French lower body team, it's really lengthy. Guys, get your comments in if you want to win at BallBusters. Do also let us know if you enjoyed the podcast. Your feedback is really helpful and useful. I do think that we are getting better and better at these, and the image quality is just getting better and better as we bloody go as well.
Yes.
So yes, we are absolutely. I think we're doing very good. But guys, that is the NobCast. Thank you so much for joining us, Gaskey. Do you have any wise words that you'd like to conclude on?
Yes. So since it's coming up to good old, Crimbo, not long away now.
Yes.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Classic advice from Gaskey.
Oh yes.
And very good advice as well, I must say.
Yes.
But guys, hope you enjoyed it. Go give us a like on the video. Go give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.